Welcome, dear friends. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We are absolutely delighted you're here. It's been said that love is the sacred activism of our times, binding all hearts together, and that hope is an act of rebellion. As we walk together in spirit, we lift up our love for all humanity and our hope for the future, and we bring in the joy. Peace in Every Step Global Walkathon is a partnership project of the Peace Alliance and Pathways to Peace, along with you and many other organizational partners and donors. There are so many to thank, so let me take a moment. First of all, the music playing as you came in is Gary Malkin, our beloved peace brother, is his composition called Scaling the Universe. So beautiful. And we will be sharing another one of his compositions at the end. Reverend Rebecca Suzik is our spiritual guide and tech guru. Isn't that a beautiful combination? Thank you so much, Becky. Becky's getting married in a short amount of time, so we're so grateful she's here with us tonight. Special thanks to our organizational partners and our donors who are supporting us on this journey. And lastly, the Pathways to Peace and the Peace Alliance planning team members are here in the room. You'll be meeting them as they share throughout our time together. Let me quickly share what will be taking place in our time together this evening. First of all, as you know, Peace in Every Step Walkathon is inspired by the Monk's Walk. So we have a very special guest with us, Gaetano Kazuo Maida, who has produced many films, including Peace is Every Step, a classic profile of Thich Nhat Hanh. We can't wait to learn more. Thank you for being here, Tano. Please stay with us as we will be sharing instructions and addressing questions about how to be engaged with the walkathon. And we have a few other really cool things up our collective sleeve. So as we all know, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Thank you for joining us. Amina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tess. Appreciate that. Thank you for sharing your beautiful words. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're all here for a common goal of creating a more peaceful world. Peace doesn't always start with big, ginormous action. It can start with a single step, which is why walking is such a powerful and beautiful act for peace. Walking is one of the most simple, universal things we can do. It meets us exactly where we are, but it can also be something much more than that. It can be intentional, and it can be grounding, literally. It can be a way of moving forward, not just physically, but together with purpose. And why did we choose this particular time to launch our walkathon? Because this moment calls for it. as I'm sure you'll all agree with me, we're living in a time where it's easy to feel disconnected or overwhelmed. But at the same time, there's a growing desire and yearning for connection and for meaning and for something that we can all be a part of together in community. This walkathon, as Hezekiah mentioned, was inspired by Bhavna Center monks who walked 2,500 miles from Texas to DC, captured hearts all over the country. Our walk is not about how far we go or how fast we walk. It's about choosing to show up and to participate and to move forward with intention. And it's especially meaningful that this walkathon we're about to launch takes place during a time when we're all celebrating Mother's Day and Father's Day from May 10th to June 21st, which is the duration of this walkathon, celebrating people in our lives who have cared for us and have shaped us into who we are. Also, during this time period, we will be honoring other sacred global observances across the world, such as Vesak, celebrated by the Sikh community across the globe, and also Eid al-Adha, celebrated by the Muslim community across the globe. So today is really an invitation to all of you, an invitation not just to listen, but to take part in this beautiful walkathon, to sign up, to invite a friend or family member, to form a team, to share this with your community, and to support us in making this effort grow. Because the only way we can make this work is to do this together as a community. And for that, we're deeply, deeply grateful to each and every one of you for being with us at the start of this journey. And we're excited to walk it together with you beginning on May 10th. Thank you. And with that, I will pass it back to Hezekiah, who can guide us through the next steps in our beautiful program.
Thank you, Amina. That was so beautiful and so perfect. Well, we're always looking at other lifting up and supporting other walks, other tools, other individuals, other programs who are committed to taking action for peace. And in our search, we came upon this incredible video that took us all to our knees. And it was called Peace in Every Step, the same as what we named our walkathon. I think you'll be touched by it as well. Here it is.
One day at dawn, before the noise began, a quiet line of hearts touched the land. No fist raised high, no words were said, just faith in the ground where their feet were led. Sometimes wet, sometimes cold, yet they were bound, teaching peace and love without a sound. Peace in every step and every breath we take. Sends love, our choice we will not forsake. just stuck just to feel the beat. Something slow, something true. A word remembering what to do. As darkness tried to dim my sight, they walked us back into the light. Let's heal the world. Lift every voice. We heal the world when we make a choice. Lay down the anger, lay down the hate, pick up peace and love. It's not too late. As winter waits in the nation square, we bow our heads in humble prayer, not to demand and not to accuse, but to show us all what we can choose. Their steps brought hope to our door. Now peace and love are closer than before. Peace in every step and every breath we take. Sense a choice we will not forsake. No hatred carried, no soul left behind. Sharing peace in every moment. One step at a
Thank you. Thank you. Um, I'm hoping we have enough dry ice to continue. So thank you for allowing us to share that. So next, we're just honored and delighted to turn the floor over to our partner and our planning team member, Judy Kimmel, who will be interviewing our special guest, Judy.
Well, welcome everybody. As everyone said, we're so honored to have you here tonight. And for those who might listen later, greetings and welcome to Peace in Every Step, our walkathon, our global walkathon for peace. Honored to be here and very, very honored to introduce our guest tonight, who I actually met quite a few years ago, coincidentally in another peace event. It was a fundraiser for the Buddhist Film Festival and the Peace Alliance years ago, and we showed the very movie that we're going to be talking about in a few minutes. And Tano was such a gracious, generous participant in that event, and I have now the opportunity to reconnect with him, I think probably 10 years later, for this event. And so I'd love to introduce him more formally. It's going to sound, it might be a little redundant, but it all is worth hearing multiple times. So Gaetano Kazuo Maida is an award-winning filmmaker, writer, and editor who serves as the executive director of the Buddhist Film Foundation and producer of the International Buddhist Film Festival. He's the key figure in the intersection of Western media and Buddhism, having co-founded the influential Buddhist quarterly Tricycle, and has directed and or been a producer of a number of films, including, as we've heard, Peace is Every Step, which is a profile of the late Vietnamese Zen teacher Thich Nhat Hanh, another film on Robert Bly, A Thousand Years of Joy, a film, The Simple Life, and another film, Rock Soup. He has served on the boards of the Point Foundation, the Parallax Foundation, North Atlantic Books, and the Tea Arts Institute, and has dedicated his life to spreading the message of peace. Originally from New York, he and his wife, he has lived in the Bay Area now for 30 years. We want to thank you, Tano, for taking the time to be with us today and to lend your life experience to this global initiative for peace. I was just struck in watching this past film that we just saw at the fact that your film is kind of a cornerstone on the other opposite end. You kind of started it all in a way, in the sense, and you'll hear more about the film, but you had the opportunity years ago to create this film. And my first question to you is, what moved you to create the documentary, Peace is Every Step? And what is part of your background that influenced that manifestation?
Well, we we don't really have time for all of that,
Yeah,
but
that's a
um,
big question. I know. I'm sorry.
yeah, I should say that the film was an accident, and I admitted freely. Um, I I ended a career on Wall Street in 1987. I walked away, and I understood that it meant I had to think very, very differently about livelihood and uh, priorities. And one of the things that I had sort of relinquished in order to put my daughter through college was photography. And so as soon as I walked away from my office, I bought myself two cameras and I went out and started taking photographs again. And I realized that there was a story that needed to be told that wasn't being told. And that was this is 87, so
Yeah.
it's early days.
Yeah.
Um, there was a proliferation for the first time, really, in America, of Buddhist centers all over the country, not just in New York and San Francisco, but everywhere. And that story wasn't being told in the media, and it really was not so easy to apprehend if you didn't know a little bit about what it represented. So I started photographing East Coast. I was based in New York. I started photographing the centers that I had friends who were part of. There was Zen Mountain Monastery. There was Daibosatsu Zendo. There was the Karma Dharma Chakra. These are all in the Catskills and the Hudson Valley. And then I started to spread out. And what happened was I realized at a certain point that I wasn't going to live long enough to photograph all the Buddhist centers in America.
Yeah.
And a group of us got together and we decided to start Tricycle magazine. But in the course of the photography, I had encountered Thich Nhat Hanh in like 1987.
Mhm.
He started doing retreats. He had done some before, but he had started doing regular retreats in North America. And I started to attend a few, photographing them for East West Journal, which is no longer publishing. And I went to his people, his organizers, and I said, I've been photographing Buddhists all over the country for the last several years, and I have never encountered someone who spoke to the moment and to the spirit of the American people the way Thich Nhat Hanh is speaking, because
Mm.
he, being Vietnamese, had a particular sensibility about what that war meant to him and what
Mhm.
it meant to us. And nobody else was approaching that. And the way he approached it, his absolutely perfect English and the love that he expressed through his teaching was unique. And I suggested to them very innocently, I said, you should make a film about this man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they said, thank you very much. And I went off and I was involved in making a film called Rock Soup, which is about homeless people in New York. And by the way, 1989, we're making a film about homeless people in New York, just for reference, because
Mm.
we
Yeah.
know you could still make that film today.
Yes. Yeah.
So 6 months go by,
Mhm.
and I get a phone call from the organizers, and they say, "How you doing?" And I said, "I'm fine." He said, "How's the film coming along?" I said, "Well, we have some problems. The police have been interrupting us, and we've had a few difficulties getting access, but we're making progress." He says, "No, no, 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 no. The film about Thich Nhat Hanh." I said, "No, that's your film. That's my film I'm working on right now is about homeless people." And they said, "Well, nobody has come to us since you were here, and we have to turn to you again and say, well, let's get going." It's not as easy as that, as many of you know.
Right.
Making a film it's about permission, it's about funding, it's about access, all those wonderful things. And I had the feeling that Thich Nhat Hanh, being who he is, and many of you probably have met him or seen him teach, he is he's a phenomenon, but he's not a personality that you engage with on a direct level.
Yeah.
He's reaching beyond a sort of relational approach. He's got something else going on, and I didn't expect that they could get the permissions, the access, etc., that would enable me to get the funding. 30 days later, I have a letter giving me permission and access to Thich Nhat Hanh, and I realize this must be something that needs to be done. And I flew to Plum Village in France
Right.
and started filming. This is in 1990, August of 1990. And I immediately felt welcomed by the community. And I also felt the story was much, much, much more complicated than merely visiting Plum Village. So I essentially attached myself to Thich Nhat Hanh for the next several years. I went on retreats with him. I went on public demonstrations with him. I engaged a filmmaker in Vietnam to get footage there. And I put together in 1995 what I thought was a 52-minute fundraising reel, something that would enable me to engage with audiences and raise the money that I needed to complete the film. I
Hmm.
invited my good friend Robert Thurman and Maxine Hung Kingston to join me on stage to have a conversation about engaged Buddhism and, with any luck, raise some more money for the completion of the film. By the time we were done with our on-stage Q&A, the questions that came from the audience were all, where can we get the video?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I said, no, 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 friends, this was just the fundraising, assembly. It's not the film itself. We're hoping to raise enough money to complete the film. And my wife gave me the elbow in the ribs, which many of you are probably familiar with, which is to say, let it go. It's sometimes you have to let it go.
Mhm.
And I did. The only thing I did is I hired Ben Kingsley to
Yes.
do a very short narration just to get his name on the box. Really, I didn't need a narrator, but I needed a little bit of help because nobody knew who Thich Nhat Hanh was. Not nobody, but
Yes.
very few people, not enough to support the effort, knew about him. So I wanted to put Ben Kingsley's name on the box to attract an audience. So it's an accident that it became a film. It was seen all over the world,
Magical.
and and I apologize for the last 30 years. I've been apologizing. It's not the film I wanted to make.
Well, it's magical and it has changed, and people all over the world know about the film and know because of the film about Thich Nhat Hanh. So we appreciate it. Going back to something you said previously, I'm going to talk about translating mindfulness into a film because that's what you've done brilliantly and did then. So, and Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings are deeply rooted in stillness and mindfulness. How did you approach translating such an inward experiential state into a visual narrative where people, my experience of watching the film is you can really feel it and not just understand the moments in time, but feel what is going on with him and with, their center, wherever he was. How did you do that?
Well, I can't take credit for that. I assembled some very talented teams to help me manifest this film. But the story about how we got started in France may be a little bit more illustrative of the problem and the solution.
Mhm.
Um, I went to France very short notice, and I had a crew signed up here in the United States to come with me. 3 days before I was about to leave, I got a call that they had to leave for Africa for a National Geographic project, which was paying real money as opposed to nonprofit money.
Yeah.
And I understood, I'm a filmmaker, I understand that you have to go where the money is. And I arrived in France with no crew. So I had what we call a fixer, a location manager who's bilingual. And I said, look, we're going to have to hire a crew here. Can you help me? And he
Mhm.
said, well, here's what we do. We go to Cafe de Mugo, which is famous. We sit there and we call around and get them to come to meet you here. And I said, okay, let's do that. So each of the crews that I was looking to hire a cinematographer and a soundman would come. Remember, we're in Paris. It's 1990. They're all smoking and they sit down and I said, well, let me explain the shoot to you. We're going to go to a Buddhist monastery where you can't smoke. There's no sex. They don't eat meat and they get up to 5 in the morning. And
Uh,
everyone then took the cigarette, stubbed it out in the ashtray and just walked away. So after a few hours of this, I said, we have to change our tactic. And so the next couple of people came in. I said, look, I'm going to tell you what the conditions are, but I'm also going to tell you that where we're going, the monastery is not too far from Bergerac, France. Now, Bergerac is famous for its uh, markets and its food, and they have great cheese, great sausages, and wonderful wine. So every night, no matter how much time we've been shooting, we'll go to Bergerac for dinner. And you can smoke, you can stay there overnight if you wish, but don't tell
yeah.
us anything about that.
Do
So
you,
finally, I was able to engage a crew, and the crew understood. They had a sense that they had to tune themselves to the environment. And the
right.
environment around Thich Nhat Hanh is calm, it is open, it is mindful by practice. And most of what Thich Nhat Hanh was offering then was to lay practitioners. He didn't have a lot of monks and nuns. These were retreatants who would come for a week or 10 days or 2 months. But they were people who had normal lives, families, livelihoods. They were not monastics. And he had an ear for that. And he was offering them a path to a mindful life. And
Right.
he was modeling that life
Yeah.
right there in front of them. So for the cinematographer and the sound crew, I didn't even have to tell them what to look at. They could feel it, and
Mm,
they captured it based on what they were feeling, rather than I didn't have a shot list. It wasn't like I need
yeah.
6 shots of this and 3 shots. No, it was we're here. We're going to be here for the next 10 days. Let's get the best footage that we can. And, of course, we would set up to do the Dharma talks, but we were
Mhm.
doing a lot of random walk around the Plum Village and drive around the neighborhood to see what it was that he was creating then. And this was quite a while ago, 36
Yeah.
years ago. And it's very different today. But in those days, you could see him every single day within an hour of your meal or an hour of the meditation, he was always available, not for talking, just for modeling. And the the community was ruled by the bell. I think it was 20 minutes, might have been 15 minutes, a bell would ring. And that was a signal for everyone to take a breath, to stop, even if they were running and cooking or hammering and building. Bell rings, everybody stopped, and that included us. We might have been, moving equipment.
Stop.
Take a breath.
Can we
Be
watch
here.
Can we have a little bit of that film right now? My time's
There,
wasting here, not a
there's
waste.
a clip. There's a clip for this. If Becky's set, we can take a. It's just a random. It's kind of montage. It's not really the whole film.
No,
Certainly.
yeah, no, it'd be interesting to watch it, having heard what you said. See if we can get it up.
I was in Washington, D.C., marching with 400 people in silence and breathing. And before visiting the Vietnam War Memorial, we stopped close to the Lincoln Memorial. And I said this, please do your best to prevent this war. I know that your country is beautiful. Your children are beautiful, but their country is also beautiful. Their children is also beautiful. Do your best to prevent it, because once the war starts, hatred will be born, and it will drag on for many, many generations. Those of you who have touched the war directly, you are something like the flame at the tip of the candle. It's hot, but it has the power of shining and illuminating. I have suffered a lot. I have known what is the war. I have seen brothers and sisters dying. And I myself escaped death in a very narrow way. Now I realize that those of us who have experienced the war directly, we have a duty to bring the truth of the war to the people who did not have a direct experience about the war. And that is what I call the practice of looking deeply and sharing our insight. We are the best people that can do it.
Thich Nhat Hanh is a Vietnamese Buddhist monk, scholar, poet, and teacher. In his books and with direct action, he has been campaigning for world peace and reconciliation for over 50 years.
And I am qualified to talk to you like that because I am like you. We are born from the war. And we know what it is. But the war is not in us only. It is in everyone, veteran or non-veteran. We all have the war inside of us. The American soldiers who went to Vietnam, they did not went there alone out of their will. They had been asked to go. Who did the bombing? Everyone. Your president, your Congress, your Senate, your people. You are only the hand ordered to do that. Why keep the guilt only for yourself? Why keep the regret only for yourself? Why keep the shame only for yourself? If you begin to see, that is very liberating. If you have begun to see, you have to share it with people so that people will not force you to do it again.
In Tet 1967, my job in Vietnam was a crew chief on helicopter gunships. Every day was combat for me. 7 of us were walking into this village. We passed 3 Vietnamese men dressed as monks. They were maybe 20 meters beyond us, and they turned and opened fire on us with automatic weapons. They killed 5 of us, and they wounded myself and one other guy. So you couldn't trust anybody.
I know how one person would feel when he knows that he can be killed by the enemy, the so-called enemy, at any time. He has seen his friends ambushed and killed. He did not know whether he can go home alive. And he was entirely possessed by fear, despair, hatred. And in that state of being, atrocities can be committed very easily.
I went.
Well, Tano, beautiful.
That was just a short bit. And I'm glad it's all we need to see. The truth is that you can see that Thich Nhat Hanh never raises his voice, and he doesn't speak without taking a breath. And again, he's modeling the behavior that he has the personal experience and hopes to promote for everyone that will enable a peaceful world to exist. His constant refrain is, you have to go into anything you do with mindfulness, or it will not produce the result that you wish. And this includes peace activism. He berated the many of us who were peaceniks in the 60s. He berated the aggression that we brought to our activism. And he said, you have the war in yourself. Even though you're agitating for peace, you're doing it with aggression. And that only generates reaction. It does not generate peace. So a peace walk for him starts with meditation.
What a gift. And I would say, I would like to ask you, and I think you just said it, what is the one simple practice that we can all emulate from your film, which I hope that people will be able to see in the future, the full film. But also, what did you learn? What is a practice that you could take away or share with us that would enlighten our next 6 weeks when we approach peace in every step, or peace is every step?
For Thich Nhat Hanh, meditation is not something you do only on a cushion. Meditation is taking a breath mindfully wherever you are. You can be driving. You come to a stop sign. You can take a breath. You can be walking in a demonstration, and you can call your attention to your breath and not worry about the drama outside of your field of view. If there are people, there is a crowd, there's police, doesn't matter. If you're focused on your breath, you are going to be mindful. And mindfulness is the tool, is the vehicle for moving you towards peace in every one of your actions. So he says meditation is an important work to do, and it can be done on a cushion, and it can be done in every act that you endeavor to do. And so for me, it was liberating in a way, because most of our exposure to Buddhist communities in the United States focused very heavily on meditation.
Right.
And meditation was always in the meditation hall on the cushion.
Right.
And Thich Nhat Hanh, who wore robes, had a bald head, he was the embodiment of a Buddhist monk. And he said, no, it doesn't have to be in the meditation hall. It doesn't have to only be in the meditation hall. It's everywhere, because if you leave it in the meditation hall, you won't be living a mindful life outside of the meditation hall. And in the film, there's an old expression, monks in the marketplace. It's one thing to be a monk in the monastery. It's another thing to be a monk in the marketplace.
Yep.
Well, we went to the marketplace with the monks at Plum Village shopping for food and to see if there was a story there. And they were perfect. They were absolutely very sweet, and it was in France, and where it can be tough. And they demonstrated that they had taken that lesson to heart.
Well, Tano, thank you so much. I hate to end this because it's so fascinating, and
I'm
maybe we can
happy
have
to
you
be
back.
here.
Yeah, well,
Well,
honored to have you here.
let's
And
just say that the May to June effort to bring this kind of action to the United States, wherever it can be manifest, is only for the good. We're living, remember, that was 1990.
I know.
He was complaining about the imminent war in Iraq, that the original George Bush, that's H.W. Bush, was about to launch. He was saying, don't do it, because you're going to have it bounce back on you for generations. And here we are in 2026, and we're still living with the consequences of that. So I only can say I wholeheartedly support this effort. I highly recommend you find a dog as cute as a Loca, because it seems to work. And you should all know that a film project is underway to gather all the footage from that Walk for Peace and to make a film that will be available by the end of the year. But
that's great.
we have to, not me. It's not me. We're helping them, but there's a group here in San Francisco working on it.
Well, keep me posted, keep us posted, and we'll try to support that in any way we can.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know, once again, an honor, and it could go on forever, but unfortunately, we have some other things.
Of course.
Fortunately, excuse me, not unfortunately, that we have to and are going to be covering. But thank you so much. We're so appreciative. Next, I'm going to introduce a good dear friend of mine who's worked with Peace and for Peace for years and years. Terry is going to be joining us, and she's on the board, Terry Mason, and she and I have worked together on Peace and the Peace Alliance for many, many years, and she's a wise woman and much more tech savvy than I am. So I'm going to turn the call over to her to help us get involved and see how we each want to participate in this global. It's actually a global movement, and it is manifesting that way. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Judy, and thank you so much, Tano. I am going to dive right in to the app so that everyone can see how they can be a part of this. So I'm going to share my desktop. Let's see if I'm lucky. Let's see. I want to.
There's a Poochie. There's our dog.
Yeah. So here is if someone could put the link in the chat, this is the main page from Pathways to Peace. There's a similar page on the home page of peacealliance.org. And from this page, if you click on this Join Now button right here in the middle, you will be brought to this page. And this is our app where you can build your team, where you can participate, where you can be engaged. So you can see it says Zeppi up in the left-hand corner. That's the platform that we're working on. It's the Peace in Every Step Walkathon. This is the general page that you have. It's your opening page. Explains what this is all about. And if you want to just plain straight up donate money, then you can click on this donate button. And then you can search for a campaign to donate to, or just donate to Pathways to Peace. And then you can take the steps to donate there. If you would like to, when you say the word fundraise, think about joining as a team, being part of the team, being part of the walk. Okay, the application is focused on fundraising, and we do want to raise funds. The money will be divided evenly between Pathways to Peace and the Peace Alliance, and will go to straight into all the work that we do. But we really want to engage in a walk and to be engaged, whether you're running or walking or biking or rowing or whatever it is. We want you to take those mindful steps every day that Tano said that TikTok was talking about, to be mindful and to be engaged in moving during this time for peace. But take this word fundraise and think about moving for peace. And if you click on that fundraise button, then you have options. You can just be a solo campaign and put in how much money. You can put in $1. $1 is fine. And then your name and your address and your email, and you can create your campaign. You can you can create a team. If you know friends that you want to invite to be a part of this, whether they're your friends or your family or your coworkers or your neighbor kids who are in grade school and need to be engaged in something like this, then you can create your own team. You can name it whatever you like. And again, put a target. It can be $1, it can be $10, it can be $100. And then put your name and your email. And then say you're going to be joining your own team. You're going to do that. And then you can create your team. You could also join a team that already exists. If you don't want to start your own team, but you don't want to be on your own, pick a team. They're all here. So there's all these teams that are here. Maybe somebody's emailed you and let you know that they have a team. If you're curious and you don't know which team to join, my personal team is stepping out. So come on in. That's fine. But any team you want to join, you could choose. And then once you choose a team, then you still create a campaign target for what your personal campaign is to support that team. Again, it could be $1, it could be $10, it could be $100, whatever number you want. But Zephy does require you to put a number in there. That doesn't mean we want you to pay a lot of money. That's part of the application. And you put your name and your address, your email address, and you can join the team. So those are the 3 ways. Wait, you can donate to trade up. You can create, join, or be a solo campaigner. So those are the 4 ways you can be a part of this. And then you'll get emails in response. Once you take that action, you'll get an email saying, thank you for doing that. This is your link for your campaign, and you can share it with your friends. And the application will immediately respond to you so you know how you can move forward from here. Does anybody have any questions? I raced through that pretty quickly. If anyone has any questions, I welcome them. Anyone?
Terry, can I add one thing, or
yes, please.
You can walk us through it. So basically, for folks who want to participate, let's say, and this is a question that we've quite often received from others, so I think it might be useful for them to participate, to share videos. How can they stay engaged in the process? So if you could, the participant guide, if you could just quickly.
Right. So for that, I think, and keep me honest here, Amina, but I think we're talking about being engaged in social media and being engaged online.
Exactly.
So once you're involved, then you can go to social media, and if you go to social media, you can post a video of anything you're doing. Put the hashtag peace in every step. Put the hashtag peace in every step walkathon. Any of those will work. And then you can search by the hashtag and you can see your participation along with everybody else's. So you can post just a post about it. You can put a video up there. You can reach out to people from your social media account. You can say, "Hey, Susie Q, come join my team for the walkathon," and then they can join. They can join you there. So this is the app. Then there's also the social media part. The best way to do that is to put something up there and put the hashtag.
Oh. Any other questions? You could raise your little virtual hand or wave at us. Terry, you did such a good job that apparently there aren't any questions.
Well, I invite everyone to dive in. I mean, it is pretty intuitive, but really the key is just to know where it says fundraise, that translate that in your brain to saying walking. This is the walkathon part. This is how I get engaged. Don't feel like, oh, I need to raise funds. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
It's the
Right.
same thing.
Right. Mhm.
Anything
Wonderful.
else? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing.
Mhm. Nancy is saying, here's a most excellent team you are invited to join. All of us are putting together teams, so we'll probably
Yeah,
be fighting over you to
yeah.
join our team. It's great.
There you go.
Can
Yeah.
I
No
make
shortage of teams to join.
Yes.
just a comment that if, when you go to the website and do all the lovely things that Terry told you could do and choose to do, you will then be linked in a way that you'll be able to get our emails regularly that
Yes.
will let you know about the upcoming Zoom calls and the share opportunities that we're going to be having during this 6 weeks. So I just want to make sure that if you want to receive that and hear what people are doing and everything, make sure to fill that out.
Yeah, actually, to your point, Judy, in order to finalize all the steps I walked through, you do have to check a box saying that you do want to receive the newsletter. So that's not optional. It's something that's required to complete the submission. You can always go into the system later and say, I don't want to get your emails anymore. That's fine. But in order to get this started, you need to check that box. And then, as Judy said, you'll find out about our other Zoom calls we have coming up in the next 6 weeks. We have other calls like this, and we'd love to have you join us.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be fun.
And fun. Yes.
Right.
All right. I think I'm going to hand off to Laura.
I think
Laura's going to connect us up to the Mother's Day aspect of all of this. That's our starting point. And there's something very special about Mother's Day for the Peace Alliance. We have a history with Mother's Day. Laura, are you here?
I'm here. Thank you, Terry. And I'll
Thanks.
just give a brief tribute, share a brief tribute about mothers and peace building for our efforts moving forward. Mothers play a vital role in peace building by shaping the emotional and moral foundations of the next generation, often serving as the first teachers of empathy, compassion, and nonviolence within families and communities. Their influence extends beyond the home as they frequently act as connectors and stabilizers in times of conflict, helping to rebuild trust and foster resilience. This vision of mothers as agents of peace is powerfully reflected in the origins of Mother's Day, proposed in the US by Julia Ward Howe as a call for mothers to unite in promoting peace in the aftermath of war. This spirit is further echoed in sacred observances taking place around the world during our walkathon, such as Vesak and Eid al-Adha, which emphasize compassion, generosity, reflection, and community harmony. Together, the everyday work of mothers and the shared values celebrated in these global traditions remind us that lasting peace is cultivated through both personal relationships and collective acts of care, forgiveness, and renewal. And now I'll turn it over to David for some closing remarks.
Well, thank you very much. And I'm delighted that we are all here moving forward. And just to bring to mind the experience of when we did see the monks walking in the Walk for Peace, and how inspiring that was. And that was very moving. And so now we have the opportunity to bring that further out into the world. We're all sharing the further exploration of and expression of peace and peace building. And this is a beautiful way to do so. So we do have a number of follow-ons that we're going to be having here. We're going to have it on Mondays, same time, 5 p.m. Same email, same Zoom link, and it's going to be taking place. So Mother's Day is May 10th, and then on May 18, we will be back here again. Then June 1st, June 15th, and then a celebration at the conclusion, which is right after Father's Day, which is June 22nd. So these are times that we're going to come together. There will be special people that are going to be joining us as kind of, this is about unity and also expanding the reach and inspiration out into the world. So thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here, and I think Tezukiah. Mina.
Yes, thank you. Thank you,
Yes,
David, for that information. Again, to each and every one of you, thank you again for being with us this evening at the start of this beautiful journey. Every person who joins, every step taken, every conversation sparked, it all adds up. It creates momentum and it creates connection, and it actually brings this vision to life in a very real way. So as we look ahead to May 10th, our Mother's Day launch for this walkathon, we invite you all to not just be observers, but be participants. Please join us, walk with us, help us build this movement for peace step by step. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being with us tonight. And with that, I'll pass it along to Tezukiah, who can wrap it up for us.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Everything that has been said is exactly right. We leave you with peace, with the spirit of oneness, with the commitment to stay in touch so that we can share our stories along the way. So once you join, expect to hear from us. We will have weekly themes that remind us about what this is all about. Yes, it is peace in every step. So thank you for being here. Thank you, Gaetano, for being here. Thank you, all of the planning team members who have worked so hard to make this happen. And most of all, thank all of you for your willingness to walk with us in solidarity. We are one. Thank you. And now we're going to let you go, but we're going to play another beautiful composition from Gary Malcolm, our beloved peace brother. This one is called The Science of Love. And so as you depart, you can be listening to The Science of Love, or if you want to hang out with us until the end of that, we welcome you to do that as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You did it.
And that is the science of love. Thank you all for hanging in there and for practicing forgiveness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll leave you with love.
Thank you.